Will Ukraine surrender Donbas for the sake of an illusory peace? Recently, this question has become a common tool for manipulation in the global media landscape. However, today Zelenskyy made a very clear statement that leaves absolutely no room for double interpretation. According to the publication Glavred, the president of Ukraine has officially confirmed Kyiv's position ahead of decisive diplomatic meetings. Why? The government in Kyiv rejects any official plans for trading territory for peace. How did the U.S. administration react to this, and why is it happening now? This particular statement has now become critically important and of profound significance for the entire Ukrainian people, resonating deeply across every corner of the nation as they face these challenging times together for their future.
There is a sense that Ukraine may not be able to win this war outright, and that the nation must give up some sovereign territory in exchange for its long-term freedom and make incredibly difficult and complex strategic decisions.
Can you win this war? Well, that depends on what people mean when they say win. And in fact, it is very difficult, especially when we are talking about territories. First of all, how to get all that land back. Today, that is incredibly difficult and complex. And it would mean far too many lost people and the loss of many precious lives. And at this moment, it's very difficult. But we must consider what is actually good for the future of Russia. We're all on the battlefield. That's why they won't win, and we are not losing the course.
Winning this phase of the war is the absolute priority. If that is truly the case, why not just stop worrying about the cities of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk? If that is what is really needed right now, why not do exactly that?
This is our territory, and it sounds absolutely incredible and deeply strange. Why should we flee and run away from our very own land? Why did they occupy our sacred land, and no one can drive them out of our territory? But you, standing here today,
You are talking about the loss of life. You are talking about the desire to end the war. If you gave up, this is, of course, the specific argument that Donald Trump frequently made. If you gave up control over these major cities, the issues would simply stop. In one notable example,
just think for a moment, if we were to give up this territory, including Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, at that very moment, at that exact moment, the 200,000 innocent people who are living there right now will immediately be occupied by the Russian forces. Who told the Russians that these people are ready to become Russians? And if they are not, then they will simply proceed to kill them. Or they will send them to the front, or they will send them to prison. They did the same things in Luhansk, in Donetsk, and in Crimea. And so,
let us be honest, this is a red line. Would you truly hand over territory that Russia did not take on the battlefield just for the sake of preserving peace? I think
that this right here is
This is not merely a symbolic red line, it represents a critical defensive boundary that cannot be crossed. This firm statement serves as a direct and uncompromising response to the various behind-the-scenes discussions regarding so-called compromise plans currently being debated. Kyiv is making its position crystal clear to all of its international partners. Any strategy that involves appeasing the aggressor at the direct expense of sovereign Ukrainian land is not a solution. Instead, such a path is a dangerous road leading toward a total strategic disaster for the entire region. The President's position is based on the Constitution and international law, where our borders remain the only legitimate reality. It's important to understand the timing of this statement. As the editor-in-chief writes, Zelenskyy made this point precisely on the eve of trilateral consultations involving the Trump administration. This is a clear signal to the White House. Ukraine is ready for diplomacy, but not for capitulation. For the Kremlin, this is also a painful blow. Putin had hoped that under Western pressure, Kyiv would become more accommodating. However, Zelenskyy's response shatters those hopes. Ukraine is approaching the negotiating table from a position of strength and moral rightness, where territorial integrity is not up for negotiation. The editor-in-chief specifically draws attention to the military component. The president would not make such statements if the defense forces did not have solid grounds for it. Thanks to unwavering resilience in Donbas and the latest technological solutions, Ukraine is successfully keeping the situation under control. Zelenskyy made it clear, every square meter of Ukrainian land in the east is soaked with the blood of heroes, and to surrender it at the negotiating table would be a betrayal of those who gave their lives. The army supports this position of the president, which creates a strong internal alliance on this issue between the political and military leadership. Zelenskyy's statement about the impossibility of territorial concessions is a moment of truth. We will never surrender or give up what is rightfully ours. We fight for every single Ukrainian, and this unity is our most powerful weapon against any aggressor and any pressure. Do you support the president's firm decision not to make any territorial concessions, even under the threat of a prolonged war? Do you believe that diplomacy without giving up territory is possible with Trump acting as a mediator? Share your opinion in the comments.